Good afternoon, everyone. I warmly welcome you to the EDB's weekly webinar. Today, we are going to have the 11th program under this webinar series. So, the objective of this webinar series is to create awareness among the Sri Lankan export community as well as new entrants to the export business. Accordingly, today we are going to have yet another interesting topic. We are focusing on trade facilitation. To be more precise, we are going to talk about port facilitation. The mandated agency is the Sri Lanka Ports Authority. As you know, ports facilitation is important not only for export, it is important for imports as well. So during the today's discussion, we can see or get new insights on what their services and how it's going to help us imports as well as exports, and also how it facilitate our investors. To be introduce the topic today is ports facilitation for exports and imports. As usual, our session will have two sessions. Our resource person will make his PowerPoint presentation. It will take about 40-45 minutes, I presume. So thereafter, our participants can ask questions. To ask questions, you all have to use the Q&A option available in this Zoom application. According to the available time, we can get clarifications from our resource person for your questions. So with that brief introduction, I would like to now introduce our resource person. He is Mr. Upul Dhammika, Director Logistics at Sri Lanka Ports Authority. Mr. Jayatissa has a BSc in Business Administration degree from the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, and also MSc in Port Management from World Maritime University in Sweden, and a diploma in marketing from UK. And also he's a chartered member of Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport in UK. Then Mr. Jayatissa joined Sri Lanka Ports Authority in 1986. He has worked in the port industry for over 34 years, including 5-year work experience in overseas, especially Middle Eastern ports, such as Kuwait and UAE. He is also a visiting faculty member for over 14 various universities and professional institutions in Sri Lanka. So with that introduction, I would like to give floor to Mr. Upul Dhammika to make his presentation. Over to you, Mr. Upul.
Thank you, Anoma. Good afternoon to everyone. So let's get into the topic of port facilitation for importers and exporters. And first of all, I would like to thank Export Development Board for organizing this webinar to share the port point of view with regard to the trade facilitation, how port facilitate importers and exporters, and what we do. Right. Hope everyone can hear me and see my presentation.
Yes, now, I can hear you and can see the presentation. You right. Go ahead, Mr. Dhammika.
Right. Thank you, Anoma. Let me first tell you about Sri Lanka and our port sector and how many ports we operate and why the port is important for an island nation like Sri Lanka. And then what are the ports in operation and what are the cargo coming into the country and what are the cargo that are going out of the country as import and export. and then we'll be talking about the different ports basically, and then starting about these ports, shipping, and how the cargo is connected for importers and exporters, how that is facilitated, and then the current status and the future and the way forward with regard to the trade facilitation from the port sector point of view. Now, as you all know, Sri Lanka is very well strategically located in the Indian subcontinent, or we call it South Asia, very close to the main shipping route, especially the biggest trade lane in the world from Asia to Europe. We are almost next to the trade lane, the biggest trade lane. And also, we are almost in the middle of the Asia-Europe biggest trade lane in the world. That's the reason why I have just put in the slide the red color. You can see from the red color, you can see the biggest ship in the world operating from Asia to Europe, passing Sri Lanka. And since we are in a very strategic location, and since we have done a lot of port infrastructure, superstructure development, and we have built new ports, so that we can attract the biggest ship or the ships that are operating on the Asia-Europe trade lane. On average, roughly about 200 ships are just passing the south of Sri Lanka. Right. So if we develop port infrastructure, superstructure, we can attract the biggest ship, and then do the trading, not only for Sri Lankan export-import, not only Sri Lankan import-export, that is why we have built the port, but also the regional transportation, regional trade facilitation, regional distribution. So from this slide, you can see in the blue color, this is the distribution network. In other words, feeder network from Sri Lanka, from Colombo mainly, to Indian West Coast, East Coast, Bay of Bengal, Bangladesh, to Myanmar, and on to the Gulf, and also to East Africa, South Africa, and the West Africa. So since we are in a very, very strategically located in the center of the subcontinent with minimum deviation, we can do the trade facilitation distribution, not only for Sri Lankan importers, exporters, but also the region. So we are a transshipment mega hub, mega transshipment hub. So that means we can handle the biggest ship. We have done the infrastructure, superstructure development for that. And all the leading shipping lines are there coming. Now, if you look at our region, that is Indian subcontinent, or we call it South Asia, there are big countries behind Sri Lanka. They are away from the shipping route: India, Bangladesh, Pakistan. If you take the entire 3 countries, the population, including Sri Lanka, we have almost more than 22% of the world population living behind Sri Lanka: India, Bangladesh, Pakistan. And so if we develop ports, we can attract the bigger ship, and we can do a lot of value addition and then do the distribution. And that value addition of Sri Lanka, the trade facilitation of Sri Lanka, will help Sri Lankan importers and exporters, especially Sri Lankan importers, exporters. Why? Because there will be more ships coming, there will be more direct shipping opportunities. Sri Lankan importers, exporters can send their cargo directly to any destination out of the Sri Lanka as exports. And also they can import cargo from anywhere in the world in a direct ship to Sri Lanka. That means lesser transport cost and time, less transport cost and time. So Sri Lankan importers and exporters, not only them, and also for the investors that are coming into Sri Lanka to invest in the free zone, in any facility, any production, any manufacturing facility in Sri Lanka, they can import their raw materials from any of the origins to Sri Lanka in a direct ship, less time, less cost, in a bigger ship, economies of scale, and lot of lesser freight. And then they can do the manufacturing processing with Sri Lankan raw materials plus, and then they can do the distribution to the world. So that means the investors also can benefit, right? And also, if you look at Sri Lanka, we are a small nation with just only 22 million population, and our import-export trade is very, very less. We import more, we export less. But what we need more and more exports. That's why Export Development Board is there to promote Sri Lankan exports, to send more and more cargo out of Sri Lanka as exports with more and more value addition as a finished product, so that we can get foreign exchange, foreign dollars, foreign exchange, so that we can import whatever we needed as imports. So port is there to facilitate import-export trade. So that means, what do we do in the port? We connect sea and the land quickly, efficiently. We connect sea and the land quickly, efficiently. Now let me get back to the Sri Lanka. Now, being an island nation, our connectivity with the rest of the world, our connectivity with the world is through ports, right? One is seaport, the other one is airport. Seaport and airport. But if you look at the cargo in tonnage, when you talk about import-export cargo in tonnage, seaport, we are handling over 99%, over 99, that means roughly, if you take exactly figure, 99.7%, 99.7% of the tonnage is handled in seaports. Airport is only handling just 0.3%, 0.3% of the tonnage. Roughly, airport plane carry only 300,000 tons, 300,000 tons, that is equivalent to 0.3%. Seaport, we handled last year in 2019, Port of Colombo and all Sri Lankan ports, we handled total 107 million tons, 107 million tons in Sri Lankan ports. Out of that, 105 million tons handled in the Port of Colombo. So therefore, the seaport is very, very important. For Sri Lanka, over 99%. If you take the entire world, maritime transport, sea transport, they carry over 90%. Over 90% of the international trade is carried by sea using ships, maritime transportation, right? Because why? 2/3 of the world globe is consist of water. So as long as countries are away, separated from oceans, and also countries are not self-sufficient, they have to, whatever they have excess, they have to send out of the country as exports and earn foreign exchange. And whatever they don't have, they don't have, they can import using that money to the country. So that is how import-export is happening. So in Sri Lanka, being an island nation, our connectivity, the gateway is through ports. So that is why the seaport is known as heart of the nation. Seaport is known as heart of the nation. Jati Hadawatai, Varal Jati Hadawatai. Seaport is known as heart of the nation. So if you are talking about a heart, it should work 24 hours, 365 days. 24 hours, 365 days. Now the question is Sri Lankan ports working 24 hours, 365 days? I would say yes. We are working 24 hours, 365 days, all, even good days, bad days, every day throughout the year, port is functioning. We are bringing ships into the port, discharge, load cargo, and sail the ship. And from the land side, whatever the export cargo coming in, we receive it, and import cargo we will send out of the port. So port is heart of the nation. We are working 24 hours, 365 days of the year. Never stop. Now, the next question people normally ask, how many ships are coming to Sri Lanka? How many ships are coming? Last year in Sri Lanka, we handled total 4,300 ships. 4,300 ships handled in the Port of Colombo. Total 4,700 ships coming to Sri Lanka. 4,300 ships are handled in Colombo. That means roughly in Port of Colombo, the main principal port, where we handled about 12 ships a day, 10 container ships and 2 other cargo. 10 container ships and 2 other cargo. So that means 12 ships are handling in Colombo. So if you take the total tonnage in all Sri Lankan ports, I told you 107 million tons. Out of the 107 million tons, 102 million tons are handled in Colombo. So that means roughly 95% of the tonnage, the weight is handling the Port of Colombo. If you take the number of ships coming to Sri Lanka, 89% of the ships are coming to Colombo. And if you take containers, 100% of the containers are handled in Colombo. So Colombo is the only container handling port. Now, why containers are important? If you take Sri Lankan exports, all Sri Lankan exports are going, almost 99% Sri Lankan exports are going in containers. So container is for Sri Lankan exports. So therefore, we need to promote, develop, expand container handling, container ships, container terminals, and facilitation of container handling. So exports are 99% over is in containers. Now, if you look at the slide on the left side, we can understand what's the imports. Now, these are the cargo. If you look at the cargo on the left side, you can see these are the cargo that are coming to this country as import and export. Let's start as what are the cargo coming into this island, right? What are the cargo coming into the island? If you look at this slide, you can see there are cargo, maritime cargo, that is commercial cargo. Some are packed, some are unpacked. Packed and unpacked. If you look at the unpacked cargo on the right side of that bottom picture, unpacked. What are the unpacked? Unpacked cargo that are coming to Sri Lanka as imports. They are coming as liquid form or dry bulk form. Liquid bulk, dry bulk. So let's try to understand what are the liquid cargo that are coming to this island. What are the liquid cargo coming? Mainly crude oil for refineries for processing. Refined. So that is crude oil. So that is handled mainly by CPC, Ceylon Petroleum Corporation. And also petroleum products, petrol, diesel, kerosene oil, other things. So all petroleum products are handled by two companies, two organizations, Ceylon Petroleum Corporation and IOC. So they are the one who will bringing crude oil as well as petroleum products in bulk form in a single ship and transfer from the ship through pipeline to the refineries to the storage for later distribution. So that is liquid bulk in petroleum products. Next one, what are the other second liquid cargo we're coming is gas, LPG, liquefied petroleum gas. There are two companies involved in this business, Litro and Lav Gas. So they are the people who bring LPG gas into Sri Lanka, right? Into Sri Lanka. Right. Then, what are the other bulk cargo, liquid bulk? That is, earlier we used to export coconut oil. We are a country that used to export coconut oil. Unfortunately, we don't export coconut oil in bulk form today. Instead of that, we import palm oil, vegetable oil in bulk form. So these are the liquid cargo coming in. Only few companies are involved in this. So there is a liquid cargo coming into the country. Petroleum products, crude oil, gas, and edible oil. So these are the liquid cargo coming into the country as Sri Lankan imports. What are the dry bulk cargo coming into the country? Mainly for Sri Lanka, we import cement. Sometimes to manufacture cement, we import clinker gypsum. And for power plants, we import coal, right? And we import grain for, Prima, grain elevators, right? Serenity flour mill. They import grain for processing, edible. So these are the two liquid and dry bulk. Only few companies, they are bringing in bulk form, handled in their own plants, right? It is not for other people. Only few people control this liquid and dry bulk business. That is we call unpacked cargo. Let's look at what are the other cargo. That is the packed cargo. The packed cargo, if you look at the packed cargo, some are coming as break bulk. What are the break bulk? Mainly coming as fertilizer, steel. So these are the mainly break bulk that are coming. The next one is neo bulk. What is neo bulk? Mainly coming vehicles, coming in ro-ro ships, roll-on, roll-off ships. That is coming vehicles, cars, buses, trucks, right? So that is called neo bulk. And the middle one is unitized cargo. Unitized cargo, mainly containers, 100% containers. So Sri Lankan exports, as I mentioned, 100% going as exports in containers. So container trade handling is the most important for exporters. Importers, other than liquid cargo, liquid bulk, dry bulk, break bulk, and neo bulk, automobile vehicles, ro-ro, like that. Other than that, everything is coming in containers. So all the high value, semi-finished, finished products, they are coming in containers. So containerization is the most important. And again, very important, ladies and gentlemen, you could understand, container can carry anything. They can carry liquid cargo, they can carry dry bulk cargo, they can carry bags, they can carry drums, they can carry pallets, they can carry vehicles, they can carry project cargo, limited size. Anything can be containerized. And also, not only that, even the refrigerated cargo, reefer cargo, temperature controlled, that is even high value cargo, like currency, right? High value cargo, and also low value cargo, and also perishable. So project cargo, anything can be carried in the container. So container is the future. That's the reason why Colombo Port, we have more focused on the container handling. So what are there? There are a lot of advantages in containerization. That is door-to-door transportation. You can move cargo from door to door. Uninterrupted multimodal transportation. You can use railroad multimodal. So future of the value cargo is using containers, right? So that's the cargo that are coming into the country. Now you may have a general basic idea about the import-export cargo coming into the country. Now let's look at the right side bottom picture. There are 6 ports under Sri Lanka Ports Authority. We are the owner, regulator of all commercial ports in Sri Lanka. And some ports we operate, some ports we ask private people to operate, and some terminals we operate, some terminals we ask private people. So there are public-private partnership business going on in the port sector. So out of that, as I mentioned, Port of Colombo is the most important heart of the nation. 95% of the tonnage handled in Colombo, 89% of the ships are coming to Colombo, containers 100% coming into Colombo, right? So other ports, gold, basically bulk cargo, cement related one, and also outport limit, ship supplies and all. Hambantota mainly automobile, vehicles, ro-ro handling, and also cargo handling, cargo handling. Trincomalee mainly liquid and dry bulk cargo handling. So these are the ports. So now you have a basic understanding of the Sri Lanka, the heart of the nation. And again, before we move to the next slide, I'll just tell you now, as you know, during this COVID period. Now you know that our connectivity with the world, airport is totally closed for the last 4 months, except for very special cargo planes and people carrying passenger planes. For the last 4 months up to now, the airport is almost closed. But seaport, heart of the nation, is functioning 24 hours. If there is no maritime transport in the world, half of the world people will die because of starvation, no food. The other half of the world will die because of no power, no energy, no coal, no gas transportation. So we are very fortunate. The port is working during the trouble period. Any trouble period, the port is working 24 hours with the help of all the other stakeholders, including customs, shipping lines, freight forwarders, trucking companies. All the stakeholders, we work together, make sure that the cargo that is needed for Sri Lanka is coming into the country as quickly as possible without any interruption, and also all the export cargo that generate money going out of the country smoothly. So that is the facilitation, trade facilitation, port facilitation, what we do for importers, exporters. Now let's move and understand what are the, especially now my focus is mainly on containers, because why? Port of Colombo last year, 2019, Port of Colombo, we handled 7.2 million TEUs, 20-foot containers last year, 2019. Out of that, if you look at this slide, you can see 82% of the containers, that is out of 7.2 million, 5.9 million TEUs, 20-foot containers are handled as transshipment. That is, they connect from ship to ship within the port. And if you take Sri Lankan import-export, our topic today, that is only 18%, very negligible Sri Lankan import-export trade from what is handled in the Port of Colombo in containers. Only 18%, 9% coming as imports, 9% going as exports, roughly 1.3 million TEUs, So that's the entire domestic cargo volume. Transshipment 82%, local cargo only 18%. So port is built for what? Port is built to handle import-export. since our import-export trade is very limited. Why? We have to cater only for 22 million population. Total cargo tonnage needed for domestic cargo import-exports in tonnage, out of 107 million, I told you, only 29 million tons. 29 million tons are needed for Sri Lankan people as import-export. So now you understand the local traffic of containers. And if you look at this one, out of the total imports, total cargo coming, roughly 668,000. Out of that, 4% of imports are coming as empty containers. 96% coming into the country as cargo with container. Container with cargo, 96%. Container, empty containers, 4%. Why empty containers 4%? Because there are some empty container shortage, especially for the garments and especially reefer containers. They are short. So they have to bring empty containers from another country to put the cargo into the country and to send as exports. Now, if you take Sri Lankan imports, out of the roughly 600,000 TEUs, right? 95% of Sri Lankan import containers with cargo, they are going out of the port as FCL, you know, FCL, full container load. 95% of the cargo that are coming to Sri Lanka in a container, they are going out of the port directly, 95%, subject to custom examination outside the port. So 95% is going out straight from the terminal, from the port, outside as imports. And LCL, less than container load, and multi-country consolidation, value addition, what we do de-stuffing inside the container freight station, that is roughly about 29,000 TEUs, roughly about 5%. So 5% of the import full cargo, 5% is de-stuffed and do value addition and going later on. 95% is going as FCL, full container load, out of the port. Now, if you look at the exports, it's very interesting to understand. That's the reason why Export Development Board is doing a lot of promotion to promote exports. If you look at the cargo going out of the country in containers, cargo only 48%, roughly 300,000 TEUs, 48% is going containers with cargo. 52% of the containers going out of Sri Lanka, which has come with full cargo, now going out of Sri Lanka as 52% empty container, no cargo inside. Ladies and gentlemen, no cargo inside, 52%. 334,000 TEUs are going, 52% going as empty container, no cargo inside. So that's the reason why Export Development Board with BUI and all the stakeholders is trying to promote exports, get investments, FDI, starting free zones, get raw materials, promote agricultural products, tea, rubber, coconut, and then garments and all these minerals and all. So try to send something out of the container that are going empty, 52%. Now empty repositioning, empty cost, someone has to bear that cost. So instead of that, we need to put some cargo in and send out of the Sri Lanka so that we can get more and more foreign exchange. So that's the reason why Export Development Board is, and all the government institutions, they are trying to promote Sri Lankan exports. So ports, we handle it, right? So next, so you have that idea. Now let's try to understand what is a port. So a lot of people say a lot of things about port. They say a lot of delays happening, documentation delay, a lot of charges, right? And all these delays are happening in the port. So a lot of people have a different perception about the port. So let me explain what is a port. So if all the importers and exporters should know what is a port. So if you look at the bottom line, the bottom wording blocks, the primary function of a port is to transfer cargo between maritime and inland transport quickly, efficiently. So we are an interface. We connect sea transport, maritime transport. In other words, cargo coming in ships, we connect it to the land transport, that is rail, road. In Sri Lanka, rail is hardly used, but mostly road cargo. So that means we connect sea and the land quickly, efficiently. So that means import cargo, we discharge faster and we deliver it to faster to the consignee. And export cargo, we receive it and we load it to the ship. So we are an interface. We connect sea and the land quickly, efficiently. So when you say quickly and efficiently, we are talking of documentation, approvals, payments. So let's see later how we have changed, we have done, what we have done to do the processing, documentation, payment, how fast we can do the document processing. But I mentioned, port is working 24 hours, 365 days, non-stop, right? So now let's try to understand the port a little bit deeper. Now, let's say on the seaside, you can see the ship turnaround time. There are ships coming, different type of ships. I told you the cargo ships that are coming. Bulk cargo, liquid bulk, dry bulk, ro-ro, general cargo ships, container ships. So these are the different type of ships that are coming from the seaside. So for that, we provide navigational services. We build harbors. So port is a harbor. It's a natural or artificial shelter for ships. Trincomalee is a natural harbor. All the other harbors are man-made. They are artificial because they have breakwaters. So what our primary function is to transfer, to turn the ship around. So that is why the port, we are catering mainly for the ships. When there are ships coming, they bring cargo. When there are cargo, we have to bring ships. So what we do from the seaside, we provide infrastructure, superstructure, facilities to bring the ship in and out, any type of ship, any specialized ship. So that is we call ship turnaround time. From the land side, right, land side, we have trucks, train coming in. So what we do? Truck turnaround time. So seaside, ship turnaround time, land side, truck turnaround time. So export cargo coming in to the port, import cargo going out of the port. So what we do? We connect sea and the land. So in between, this is the port. This is the port. This is the harbor. This is a port where we have a lot of different handling facilities for different ships, different terminals. Starting with passengers, cruise terminal, liquid cargo terminal, dry bulk terminal, cement terminal, grain terminal, and then ro-ro terminal, then the general cargo terminal, and finally container terminals to handle all type of cargo. And within the port land, we do a lot of value addition. What is addition? Import cargo, LCL container, we de-stuff within the port or near the port under Ports Authority facility at Paliguda container freight station. So LCL cargo 5%, we take the cargo out and then do the distribution. So, and also packing, labeling, multi-country consolidation, entreport trade, bonded cargo, lot of value-added logistic businesses are done using the port land. But only thing is, we have very, very limited land. Port land is very, very limited because this was built very long ago during the British time. So we don't have much land. So whatever the land, precious land available, we do much value addition, right? So what we do, seaside, we get a ship, we call navigation operation. And then we have terminal operation, cargo discharging, loading and storage, and then value-added logistic, packing, labeling, unpacking, de-stuffing, stuffing, and then delivery, receiving. That is the value-added logistics. So again, let me just explain the entire port area. All commercial ports, they are custom premises. Ports Authority belong all the land. We are the owner, we are the regulator. We can do anything in the port, excluding the functions. I will explain that later a little bit. But port area is a custom area, right? So in the port, we have two types of gate. One is the terminal gate, one is the port gate. Now, if you look at the port gate, terminal gate and the port gate. Port gate means there are basically 4 parties at the terminal gates. So in the Port of Colombo, we have total 9 gates. Out of the 9 gates, one is the rail gate, which I will show you later, 9 gates. But the final gate, you have port security, customs, navy, police. There are 4 parties involved in each gate. Every gate, they have different functions. So entire port is under customs supervision. Not only customs, immigration, health, quarantine, various stakeholders are working within the port area. So you got to distinguish what's the role of the customs, what's the role of the port. A lot of people do not understand these two roles. The custom role, they are the They are the people, border guards. They are the one who recover government duties, taxes. They are the one who see what are the cargo, legitimate cargo coming in, going out. So all the cargo inspection, examination, value, duty, government recovery, taxes, duties, everything is done through the customs, right? But they are within the port area, right? Ports Authority, what we do? We only handle. We handle what? We handle ships. We handle cargo, we do value addition, we do receiving delivery. So we are the one who is the handling. We are only doing handling. We handle ships, we handle cargo, we do value addition. We receive cargo, we deliver cargo. So subject to custom approval. So entire ship handling, cargo handling, value addition, receiving delivery, discharging, loading, everything. All the port operations, port business, entire port business is done subject to custom approval. We are a handler, they are recovering charges. So Ports Authority, even though Ports Authority is the owner and the regulator for all ports in Sri Lanka, what we had to do, we had to get the custom permission to bring the ship in and out, discharging, loading, storage, delivery, receiving. So all we had to do with the approval of customs, right? So now you have a better understanding. So as per the Ports Authority Act, we cannot deliver the cargo, import cargo, export cargo, we cannot ship without the permission of customs. So now hope that you have a better understanding of the port. Not only customs, there are immigration, various other stakeholders. There are about 30 institutions that are involved supporting import-export trade. But main player, the customs, port, then the health, shipping lines, shipping agent, freight forwarder. Again, what you got to understand, since we are talking import-export, it's very important. On behalf of the ship, the local agent is the shipping line. Shipping agent is the, on behalf of a foreign ship owner, shipping line, there is a local representative. He's the one who is dealing with the port, customs, and all the regulatory bodies. That is called shipping agent. With regard to the import-export cargo, on behalf of importer-exporter, there are recognized legal body that is called clearing and forwarding agent. Clearing and forwarding agents. For import-export cargo, all import-export commercial cargo, they have to deal with the clearing and forwarding agent. They are registered under Ports Authority, and also they are registered under Sri Lanka Customs. And the customs, they known as CHA, Custom House Agent. In customs, they recognize them as CHA, Custom House Agent. So they are the authorized people who to deal with customs on behalf of import-exporter. So on behalf of import-exporter in the Sri Lanka Ports Authority, clearing and forwarding agents, they are registered, recognized, and they are companies and even individual people. They are not only them, director merchant shipping, they are under license. So except personal effects, if you import personal effects, you can clear on your cargo on your own. But other all commercial cargo, they have to have a channel through support through import-export cargo is channeling through clearing and forwarding agent, right? So they are the one who registered, whom we know, whom they know the custom procedures, who they know port procedures, and whom we know very well. That is the right. So very quickly, let's now move. So this is the Port of Colombo. Here you can see the Port of Colombo. These are the basically two harbors. There are three terminals for containers. We have JCT, UCT, Jaya Container Terminal and Unity Terminal under Ports Authority. SAGT Terminal, South Asia Gateway Terminal, a private terminal. We have given them a 30-year management contract to run the port terminal. And then the CICT, Colombo International Container Terminal in the new South Harbour, Colombo Port Expansion Project. Again, we have given that facility for them to operate 35 years. And the fourth terminal is the East Container Terminal. Right. So these are the three terminals. We have 8.5 million capacity. Last year, I told you all these three terminals, 2 private terminals and 1 government terminal. Basically, these are the facilities that we have. So we help together, public-private, to facilitate importers, exporters trade. So this is the Port of Colombo. For other cargo passengers, you can see the general cargo, Bandaranaike Quay, and the ro-ro handling, and the liquid cargo handling, dry bulk cargo handling. So these are the facilities in the Port of Colombo for other type of cargo handling. So I told you there are 2 types of gates in the port. One is the terminal gate, one is the port gate. Terminal gate like SAGT, JCT, SAGT, CICT, we have these terminal gates. There's no customs in the gate. They're only terminal people and terminal security, and they check whether the custom approval is there when they receive export cargo, when they deliver cargo. So this is called terminal gate. So there's no customs in the within the port terminals, no customs, but port boundary, the final gate, port gate. I told you there are 9 gates in the Port of Colombo. Every gate you find port security, customs, navy, police. They are the people who, customs is the people who check the cargo when they're coming into the country, into the port and going out of the port. So out of these 9 gates in the Port of Colombo, the gate number 7, which is in the middle, that is the rail gate, and also you can see the pipeline, liquid cargo going out of the port. And also if you look at the left side, gate number 6, that is the port access road, Ingurukade, port access road, that is called gate number 6. That is the gate that is permitted to take all full containers. I told you 95% of the FCL containers, import containers, are going through this gate out of the port. And also all the exports, 100% export containers, that is roughly, I told you 48%, roughly 300,000 TEUs for a year. They are coming through this gate. This is the only gate that import container with full going out of the port and coming into the port. That is port access road, gate number 6, that is the gate. And then you have on the right, that is the Serum gate. There are empty containers can come in and out, and other general cargo can go out of the port. So other ports, other gates, they can use the other cargo, right? So Ports Authority, as I mentioned, you can visit the SLP website. So we have the mandate to handle ships, cargo. We are a self-financing institution, managing with the board of directors. We don't get government budget allocation. We have to find our own money to do our own business. So if you look at Sri Lankan container traffic volumes, whenever we increase capacity, there is a volume increase in the Port of Colombo for the last several years. So what's happening in the shipping? Ships are getting bigger and bigger by length, by width, by draft. So today the biggest container ship can come to the port. So the biggest container ship is today 24,000 container ship. Regularly we get 20,000 TEU ships, 6 ships to the port a week. So what is happening? The ships are getting bigger and bigger. The carrying capacity is going up, but the number of shipping lines, shipping companies are getting less and less. Because why? And also when the ships are getting bigger and bigger, we need to have terminals with bigger cranes. So these are the 4 types of big cranes that we have in the Port of Colombo. And shipping lines, if you take back, we had 20 shipping lines in the world, but today there's only 12 shipping lines, mainly controlling about more than 90%. Over 90% of ships are controlled by the 10 shipping companies, right? And out of 12 shipping companies, only 8 shipping companies recently. Why? And also they are operating in 3 alliances, the alliance and alliance in 2M. So these are the 3 alliances that the basically 10 shipping lines are connected, right? And then so these are the container volumes. I think we don't need to talk about. Now I told you Port of Colombo is the 22nd biggest container port in the world. So we are the 22nd container port in the world ranking. Number 1 Shanghai, number 2 Singapore, number 3 Ningbo, and Port of Colombo. We are the 22nd biggest container port in the world. And this is the import procedure. That is when a container cargo discharged from the ship, we move to the terminal, keep it. When the importer pay custom duty, port charges, terminal charges, they bring the empty truck, we mount it, and then the truck is going out as imports. Export cargo, they are coming from port access Ingurukade gate number 6, and then we receive the container, and then when the ship comes, we load it. So normally import cargo, they are given 3 clear days from the time discharging, from the day following discharging. 3 working days are free storage for you to do the processing, documentation, get custom approval, and clear the cargo, right? And if you don't clear the cargo within 3 clear days, then you have to pay the storage, port storage charges. So if you pay basically 2 charges, The number 1 is compulsory, the wharfage, Vapu gasto, wharfage. And then if you exceed the free period, normal cargo 3 days, dangerous cargo 48 hours, then you have to pay rent. So if you exceed the free period, you pay rent. If you don't Within the clear days, rent-free period, if you clear, you have to pay only wharfage. That's all what you pay as an importer. And if you exceed the free period, you have to pay the storage charges, storage rent. If you are an exporter, you only pay one charge. What's that? Wharfage. That's all you pay. That you can pay electronically through our website, cargo management system, electronically. You don't have to come, right? But no export rent for you, because why? Gates are open 7 days before. Export cargo, we are giving 7 clear days, 7 working days. That means including Saturday, Sunday, it is total 9 days. So once you manufacture, don't keep it in your warehouse. Send it to the port. On the shipping line instruction, open the gate. We do 7 days the ship arrival, right? And when the ship comes, we load it, right? So that is the import procedure, export procedure. So this is the cargo management system that we started year 2012. Export cargo, they have to register and they can pay online. They can make an advice. They can say what are the cargos they are exporting with the quantities. Then we will say you have to pay this amount, and then you can do payments to the banks. There are 4 banks in operation. Freight forwarders, they know how to do the payments. They are listed. SLP website, you can find export cut-off time number again for exports. Very important. I told you gates are open 7 days before the ship arrival, and the gates are closed 24 hours before the ship arrival. So close 24 hours before the ship arrival, that is called cargo time. And all the information, cargo export, gate opening, gate closing, you can find SLPA website, SAGD website, CICT website, different terminals. Also import, even LCL cargo restuffing you can find from the website. And ship arrival you can find, and also port charges. If you go to slpa.lk, you can see the Ports Authority charges, tariff. All the charges, tariffs are also mentioned in the SLPA website. So even we have SLPA smart port app. So you can download the app and then you can find information about the ship arrival, LCL, all the information, destuffing information and all. So export cargo, I told you we have given 7 days clear free storage and the cargo cut-off time, and you can try. And so as an exporter, what you pay? You pay normally compulsory wharfage. Exporter, 7 days free storage, 24 hours before the ship arrival, we close the gate. No rent you have to pay, because if the ship get delayed, a shipping line, shipping agent, they have to pay the rent. So you, as an exporter, you only pay only one charge. So what do you pay as wharfage? If the cargo is agricultural or garments, you pay $16. For $32. If the cargo is dangerous, they have to pay for a 20-footer $58. All other cargo, whatever the other cargo, let's say if you were sending tires, you have to pay $32. So this is what you pay. A lot of people do not understand what is its wharfage is for the land use, for the port land use. Very simple example, if you are going to channel a doctor, you pay 2,000 rupees and 1,500 rupees for the doctor, 500 rupees for the hospital. Why do you pay hospital? Because you are going to see the doctor. Why do you pay hospital? By hospital is the service provider who meet you and the doctor. So you are the facilitator, right? So therefore, you have the right to charge something. So this is the wharfage, the port charge from all importers, exporters, you have to pay compulsory wharfage. So if you are an importer, right? If you are an importer, I told you 3 clear days given for normal cargo. Dangerous cargo, 48 hours free storage. Compulsory, you have to pay wharfage. But if you exceed the rent-free period, free time, again, then you have to pay storage charges. So there are basic charge and also penalty charges. Basic charge and penal charges, right? So that's with regard to the import charges, and also so what's the rent? Now the next question, normally people ask how much if I don't clear my 20-foot container, right? How much I have to pay? So for normal basic rent is $8 for a 20-footer. Normal cargo, package, loose cargo, LCL cargo, you have to pay per ton 0.23 cents. So again, if you don't clear cargo within after 7 days, on top of basic charge, you have to pay penalties, penal charge. For a 20-footer, basic rent is $8 per day. That is roughly about 1,600 rupees, roughly. It's just like you park your car 24 hours in a parking slot, you have to pay 1,600 rupees. For a 20-footer container, size is 3 times a vehicle, we charge only $8. But if you exceed the 8 day, you have to pay additional $15 per day. So just to give you a very quick understanding about the ship arrival during this year COVID period, COVID period, during the COVID period, we had about almost 18,000 containers backload. We have already cleared. There's no congestion, no cleared. We cleared all the cargo, no LCL backlog. We de-stuffed immediately. And if you look at the number of ships coming during the COVID period, we had a drop in March, April, May, but now we are recovering. So June, we are recovering. And if you take the number of containers handled, we had a drop in the month of March, April, May, but June, it is only less. Now we are picking up. So this month up to now, today, we are positive. We are positive. We have a growth. So, our strategy is to make Sri Lanka as a import-export hub, right? Import-export hub as a trading. So our main function is to cater for Sri Lankan importers export. So they have direct shipping opportunities. Big ships are coming. I told you there are 12 ships coming to the Port of Colombo. Out of 10, 10 ships are for containers. So importers, exporters, they have a lot of frequency. They have the direct shipping opportunities. So they can send their export cargo from Sri Lanka to US, UK, Japan, China, Korea, any country on a direct ship. And also they can import cargo and raw materials to Sri Lanka in a direct ship. So since we have more and more ships coming to the port, since we develop port infrastructure, superstructure, we have expanded the Colombo port to cater for the biggest ships that are operating on Asia-Europe trade. And so you can send your cargo. And also we do transshipment for containers. And Hambantota, 91% of vehicles handled in Hambantota, they are transshipment, right? So more Ro-Ro ships are coming. So if you are importing vehicles, you can send import from Japan or from India. When you order it, within a week, you can get within a week or two, depending on the distance, you can get the vehicle faster to Sri Lanka because more car carriers are coming. More car carriers are coming to Colombo and Hambantota. Colombo, we get mostly brand new vehicles because the sole agents are in Sri Lanka. They take direct operation, direct delivery. And Hambantota, it's mainly recondition, recondition, and then the transshipment. And within the port, we do all the multi-country consolidation, import, LCL cargo de-stuffed by Ports Authority within the port. As we have 8 container freight stations within the port. Outside the port, we have Paliagood Nuge Road, 1 LCL handling facility. And also we do a lot of multi-country consolidation, on-report trade, bonded cargo within the port. So we have within the port, we have the public-private partnerships are there, private terminal, public terminal. So we are working 24 hours, 365 days. During the COVID period, we gave a lot of concessions, right? The first concession that we gave a total rent-free from March 16th up to April 14th, we gave total rent-free period for importers to clear their cargo. And then from April 14th up to May 7th, we gave only basic charge, no penal charges, no penalties, right? People call demurrage, no demurrage but demurrage is a different term that is used in the shipping. But port, we say storage charges, rent, ground handling charges, ground rent. And then from May 8th onwards, it's normal. So port is back to normal. Port is working 24 hours, 365 days, even though the airport is shut down, connecting this island. The seaport is connected for send your export cargo out of the country and bring whatever the import cargo that you want to Sri Lanka, subject to custom and various other regulatory approval. We do handling. We handle ships, we handle cargo, we do value addition, we deliver cargo, we receive cargo, subject to other stakeholders approval, right? So I briefly mentioned about the port facilities, what we have. And again, if you're for port warfare charges, import-export warfare charges, you can pay online. We started export cargo online payment in year 2012, import cargo 2013. During COVID period, we accelerated with other two terminals. There are certain documents that earlier we didn't do electronically. Now we converted that to electronically. So today, all the manifest, the shipping agents, they've transmitted all their manifest to customs, port, terminals electronically, right? That is for the manifest. Even during the COVID period, we started accepting e-delivery order from shipping lines. So shipping lines also fall in line with doing distance transaction, remote transaction, without coming to the port to do this. So it's almost, we are also doing electronic payment, electronic documentation. Even if you are an importer, you can pay all the port charges electronically, and even the gate pass can be printed. Only funds you have to come to the port. So to do all the import documentation, we have a doc center outside the port that is between the telecom head office and the custom head office. We call Canal Yard Doc Center, one-stop shop documentation center. There we have Ports Authority, Customs, SAGT, CICT, even Hambantota. Their officers are there. Even the clearing forwarding agents, they are registered here, there, and all the transaction is done outside port. They don't have to come to. So once they get everything is the gate pass approved by Customs and port, stamped, and then they can give it to truck driver to collect from the respective terminals. Then only that empty truck comes to the terminal and taking the container out. So export cargo, they are all coming in, I told you, as export facilitation coming through Ingurukade Port Access Road. And there's an export facilitation center. Every export container, they have to weigh, that is VGM, verified gross mass. They have to weigh the container. You not only container, even the truck and the trailer has to be certified way before. And that's the place where all the export cargo, including BOI cargo, has to channel. And they do, and the documentation they submit is electronic ECDN, electronic cargo dispatch note. And also they use now e-shipping note, electronic shipping note. And that shipping note is, once the customer approved, it is called boat note. Once it is loaded onto the ship, it is become a mate receipt. And once the mate receipt is given to the shipping agent, they will issue the BL. So that's the export procedure. So most of the documentation, import-export procedure, payments, and other gateway is done today electronically. So so that's the basically the port facilities and what we have done. So there are so lot of things. It's very sad to say that the 1 hour is not enough to talk on this topic. I need at least 6 hours. 6 hours if I really need to explain you in detail of the what port facilitation, what we had done for importers, exporters to facilitate trade facilitation. So so time is almost up. So therefore, I have to wind up my presentation. So finally, I would like to thank Export Development Board. This request came from Mr. Indrakirti and Anoma and the team of EDB for me to talk on this subject. And I'm a resource person for Export Development Board because they are conducting export import procedure course by Export Development Board, and they visit the port, they visit the customs, and that's a very good training arm of the Export Development Board, and I'm a research person there. And so port is functioning with all the support of all the other stakeholders, all the regulatory bodies like Sri Lanka Customs, right, shipping agents, shipping lines, freight clearing and freight forwarding agents, the trucking companies, and various other regulatory bodies are helped to import, facilitate trade, import, export cargo, to do it quickly, efficiently, to transfer cargo between sea and the land and the sea. That is sea transport, land transport, we connect faster, quickly, efficiently, right? So there are so many other things. What our way forward is to work with the port community system, all the stakeholders, their systems must getting linked. So all the electronic payments, electronic transaction can be implemented 100% once we implement port community system. So we are now working on it. So that's the way forward. So that will help for the importers, exporters very much in the future to promote their business. Thank you very much, Anoma.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Jayatissa. It's a very informative and a lot of insights into the how you all are working, which are known to most of us. So we would like to thank you for this presentation. Moving on to the Q&A. There are several questions, but time is the issue. But can you answer a few questions?
Sure.
With, maybe
You're welcome.
very quick answers.
Sure.
One common question is whether our attendees can get this presentation. Can we share your presentation with them?
Yes, some, but because people, I can share it, but people will not understand with the presentation, but I can, yes, share some, yes.
Simple version we can share
yes.
for their information. And some asked whether this type of, you have mentioned port charges and ship charges or the payments to be made. So they wanted to know whether they are in your Port Authority website. Can they get those
yes.
information about
Noma. Port tariff? Port tariff is there in the website. They can download it. 2019 tariff, the latest one is there in the website. They can download it.
And other common question is, I'm trying to put everything together due to the time. Due to this COVID period, there are some issues. People can't clear their cargo and those kind of things. So what are the concessions given for such people, for companies? Are there any other plans? You have mentioned some time period you have waived off. So how they can get it, or whether it could be extended, that kind of thing about the COVID, due to COVID issue.
Right. So Anoma, this the COVID issue, all these three terminals, all the private and the government terminals together with the Ministry of Ports and Shipping and the Ports Authority and the SAGT CICT together, we gave this concession. As I mentioned, total rent-free period is from March 16th up to April 14th, and from April 14th up to May 7th, basic charge. And from May 8th onwards, normal charges. So we offered them because considering all the factors, but during that time we facilitated everyone. We make sure the clearing, forwarding agent, trucking companies to operate. You know, we help them to get curfew passes, and you know, they could use the curfew passes for their one. So we gave so many facilities for them to clear the cargo and do the cargo clearance faster. So that is basically what we have given. So any special which is beyond their control, we are considering on case by case. But again, during the considering a genuine request with genuine proof. So a lot of people come and say, just ask concession. You cannot grant it, but only thing is with the genuine valid reason with supporting documents. Yes, okay. Case by case we would grant.
So, and another thing that is again the due to the COVID situation, now maybe there are fewer number of ships coming in due to this reason. So for export especially, due to the lesser number of ships, are there any facilitation which can be given by Ports Authority for exporters? Storaging and maybe container spaces, there will be lesser number of
but if you look at the number of container ships that came to the port, is very few drop. But now it is totally back to normal. And that period, the drop period, there were no much cargo came as export, so there was no delay. So if there is any delay for a ship to come, that is ship freight exporters, they don't have to pay anything. So if there's any delay, that is the export rent is absorbed or bear by the shipping agent, because that is their fault for not bringing the ship into the port. So exporter didn't have any bearing on that. So export rent is not paid by the exporter.
As a right, as a one last question.
Yes, please.
Maybe now you said these payments are all to be paid by through the clearing or the shipping agent, isn't it? Exporters need not to worry about those. Their agents or the clearing and forwarding agent are the people who are doing this with the Ports Authority or the other concerned authorities.
Yeah, even the big exporters, they can have their own freight forwarding arm, and then they can themselves register, and then they can do the transaction. But only the small exporters, they have to rely on this freight forwarding, because they are the one who is having the shipping knowledge. They're the one who's doing the booking. So they do a lot of not only the port transaction, but even the entire shipment processing is done. The booking and everything is done through them, because they have they can get good discounts rates, because since they are into that business instead of doing individually.
All right. Okay, with that, we would like to wind up the session because we have already passed our scheduled time. Thank you, Mr. Jayatissa, for your very good presentation and the clarifications given. You have any final concluding remarks, Mr. Jayatissa?
Yeah. Thank you very much for Export Development Board, led by Mr. Indratirthi, Anoma, and the entire team for organizing and trying to promote the trading in Sri Lanka. And we are always there. We are always willing to support you in your endeavor. And I wish all trading partners, importers, exporters, good luck. Take care.
Okay. So I would like to thank the audience as well for their participation and sending us the questions and their interest on this. So we would like to invite you for our next session, usual time, that is the next Thursday at 2 p.m. So with that, I will wind up the session. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thanks.